Hi. As always, the workaholic, shopaholic, sexaholic, in a nutshell, sums my personality. I love to work, I love to shop, and I love to have sex. I was reading in the newspaper on Saturday that James Joyce's Ulysses would appeal to the sexaholic in me. It's a 1,000-page book, and I would be happy if I were to finish about 300 pages, 200 to 300 pages of it. There's a lot of profanity, I was told, uh, but I looked up a small portion on Project Gutenberg, and some catchy phrases which appeal to the workaholic, shopaholic, sexaholic in me. The four omnipotent sovereigns. The power money can get you, don't you think? Fulfill the wildest of our dreams. Make mountains meet in our lives. There's an allusion to Buck, not McWhite, Buck, I forget. You can look up, it's right in the beginning, the name. And the newspaper said that it was about Mr. Bloom, and Mrs. Molly Bloom. Not to be confused with the skiing uh, sports player out whom the movie was made. Of course, I'm joking. So, anyways, the Hellenic is mentioned. It's an Irish book. Where are Greeks and people of Hellenic origin coming in? Anyways, the sexaholic aspect uh, refer to the man flower, the tulip. Great minds think alike, or fools seldom differ. Because I had all on my own said that the tulip was like the male organ, for if it does not bloom, it stays a bud for a long time. When it blooms, brings forth the beauty of spring and summer and romantic escapades, brothels. Then there was also a reference to Miss Molly Bloom saying, we are flowers, all our own woman's body. Hmm, that's a flattering aspect for women, isn't it? But too much of flowers, then the workaholic gets left behind. Remember, kind of keep the flowers at the right level. Then there's one last thing I have to say. Molly Bloom says, no, this was on the internet. Molly Bloom's, she has a soliloquy, a long 22,000 word soliloquy. And in that, she says, yes, and yes, and yes. Isn't it interesting that James Joyce came up with this popular, very popular allusion to the joys that sex brings? I shall let the sexaholic rest in this. You should read James Joyce's Ulysses. It's the 100th anniversary of the book being in circulation, and um, the sexaholic knew, as far as men goes, just sprang forward into action. And who knows, you could taste the joys of sex at your own hands, making it simply wonderful for yourself. All right, I'll go to the Shopaholic. I'm going to keep it cheap from now on because it's been ages since I made pages. But once in a while, I will indulge my, what shall I say, my interest in shopping and go haywire when I'm in a store. I haven't gone to Hudson's Bay in recent times. Last time also I kept it at a minimum level. Just a liquid lipstick and I think I got bras and panties. Those were expensive, but they're necessities. Everybody has to shop for bras and panties if you're a woman. So anyways, the Globe and Mail again this Saturday spoke about the Tunaksa people. Tunaksa people, the indigenous folk who think that they should be given back their contributions in art. Uh, they're given authorship and maybe they've not been paid. So this is a beadwork. It's beautiful, isn't it? It's all beads. It's all beads. I really couldn't guess. I think it's woven because in Bangalore there's a weaving baskets kind of a thing, which is done because sewing it is going to be hard. I couldn't get the secret of this. I did a variation of it and I'm having technical difficulties with the stitch. But it's this is how it would look like if I could draw the beadwork with the rose bullion stitch. Right, one bead and a part of the rose bullion stitch, another bead and a part of the rose bullion stitch, and then you draw it. And I'm having technical difficulties completing it. I have no idea why. Maybe the Tunaksa people want to be given authorship to this too, but the rose bullion stitch comes from South America. At least that's what Pinterest said. Anyways, I uh, kept this at a minimum. This comes from an embroidery kit I had bought, the beads. I was sitting all by my thinking I had to go to Michael's Canada or the dollar store to buy beads. I was planning an elaborate um, a, a, design. But since I'm having time, I'm going to finish it. I entered in between with the rose bullion, with the long bullion stitch and the rose bullion stitch. This bullion and rows and long bullions, for they must come together eventually at some point in time. You must read the Kama Sutra by Lance Dane. Lance Dane, he has a Christian name, but is Indian, I think. Anyways, because the book has a British publisher. Anyways, it has graphic pictures of the male organ in all its splendor. Beautiful, hard, and simply splendid. Just think of the joys it could get you. Man, penetrating the soul of your woman with his mind. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. I'm gonna go to the Workaholic. Back to this book, The Nature of Space and Time. Is it space and time? Yeah. Stephen Hawking and Roger Penrose. And I found because Gibbs free energy is a common equation in thermodynamics. It has the enthalpy, the temperature, and the entropy governing the equation. Delta H minus T delta S is the Gibbs free energy. How do you describe entropy? The state of disorder is increasing. When a reaction happens, there has to be a change in entropy. And here I found an interesting variation on this equation. There's a free energy, and it's given by the mass or energy plus the temperature times the entropy S. Notice the variation, mass or energy, and that enthalpy, MCP delta T, I'm boxed in by heat transfer among these engineering subjects. But interestingly enough, if you were to put this together, the action of the black hole gives an entropy of 4 pi m squared, where m is the mass. It's a constant. If you were to consider mass as volume into density, which is infinite, then the action of the black hole is infinite, 4 pi m squared would suck everything in. Just take it all in. I hope the space station never runs into a black hole. Or for that matter, any of the um, spacecraft, space shuttles launched into outer space come in contact with the black hole. But this is what is required to make the laws of black holes the same as the laws of thermodynamics, says this book. But there's more. You should buy the book. Euclidean, Schwarzschild, etc. It's a little bit of work because all the index and the symbols and etc. are not included in the book. I think the references are. Yeah, the references are. There's more. I mean, there's a Lorentzian space and etc. And black holes was his pet theory. Stephen Hawking. The movie also was interesting. Theory of everything. I think was what the movie was. It had Eddie Redmayne, the hero, and I forget. I watched it. Eddie Redmayne. I mean, the second half of the movie, I don't think he had much fun with it. The first half he had fun, and I don't think Stephen Hawking himself had much fun. No, one wasn't a joke about these things. Poor man was a young, handsome man, and then he got uh, overcome by disease. It's not good. But anyways, I don't think he had much fun. But for the joys of physics, his life would have been barren. But he got married twice. I mean, these things do happen. I don't think his wife was six. Was I snorted. Such a inelegant sound. After all the dialogue, I gave. Anyways, but you must remember, snort of laughters come once in a while from all of us. And I suppose the lesser they come, the better it is for us. Giggles, etc. Okay. Anyways, one more workaholic thing I do. I got sidetracked. Let's look at the Lorentzian space. Huh. I didn't do any holomorphic ideology of Freeman's Mobius group. Mobius strip. Weird. My painting. Sometime I'll show you my painting of the Mobius strip. It's on LinkedIn. You need to search a lot. My LinkedIn, Facebook pages are all full. Oh, well, I need to really delve deeply into this. And it would be good for you men to delve deeply into engineering and science books rather than delving deeply into the recesses of women's anatomy. Because there are other kinds of curvy linear spaces in life for me to I have to remember because I'm always which enhance propagation of light in you. Remember the Seinfeld thing? She becomes fuzzy brained, but he becomes smarter by laying off. You need to have kind of your own me times. Because you could read the book and thinking, unless I find something very. Oh, this again, this is the Schrodinger cat's experiment. Hmm. Oh, that's a show. So Stephen Hawking also came up with that. Hmm. But mostly Euclidean space is nice for us. Oh my god. The De Sitter universe is just a closed space like the surface of the Earth, but with two more dimensions. What are the other two dimensions? What could it be? This time, would ponder away on this. De Sitter matrix, x squared r squared. Oh, they come back to the metric. Metric is easy. Yeah. All right, I'll let you enjoy the insights of the nature of space and time by Stephen Hawking and Roger Penrose. But what's a, but I think the scientists, physicists talk about this five-dimensional universe. What could be the fifth dimension? It's hard enough understanding four dimensions, which is the fifth one. Fifth one could be. Hmm, mind boggles. Movement of space and space? I suppose that could be it. Momentum could itself become a dimension? Yeah, that might be it. No, but that's what velocity. Velocity is not a dimension. It's a function of time. This might be a good exercise. Passage of time. Hmm, got the same units for the constant of motion. The Jacobi integral, which, as I said, I used the Ricci tensor, Ricci scalar, etc., and came up with wonderful figures. They danced in front of my eyes, doing the tango, yeah, and the rumba and the salsa, all put together. One wonderful moment of success in engineering. See, from home, you can have sex. I didn't say that quite right, did I? You can have sex. You can do the rumba, the salsa, and the tango. Just by seeing all these figures dance in front of your eyes. And ace rates. All right? Enjoy.